Okay, so we're here today with Dr. Steve Rosoff. Dr. Steve, it's a pleasure to have you in studio. Go ahead and tell me a little about your practice. Let's learn a little about who you are and what you've got going on.
Sure. Yeah. Well, thanks for having me. My name's Steve Rosoff. I've been practicing chiropractic here in Raleigh for the last 20 years. I'm with Glenwood Chiropractic. Most of the patients we see at Glenwood Chiropractic is personal injury. A lot of soft tissue injuries. We've been doing it for, like I said, over 20 years.
Fantastic. Have you been in the Raleigh area for about 20 years?
Yeah, about 22 years now. Yes,
Fantastic.
sir.
So you've
Yep.
seen Raleigh change quite a bit.
Huge. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's booming, man.
So
Yeah.
do you live in the Raleigh-Durham area
Yep.
yourself?
Live in Raleigh. Yep.
Fantastic. So I imagine your practice is named Glenwood Chiropractic. Your practice is on Glenwood Avenue or near it?
Yeah, well, I started off on Glenwood Avenue, and then we moved to right off of Creedmoor, right
Okay.
behind the Container Store. Yeah,
Oh,
across
fantastic.
the street from Crabtree Valley Mall. Yep.
Oh, very nice, very
Yeah.
nice. That's a beautiful location.
Yeah, it's perfect.
I imagine you must have done some begging and pleading to get such a decent location.
Yeah, that was about 15 years ago. I've been there, so
Oh, wow.
yeah, it was just coming up. Yep.
So, tell us a little about what made you get into chiropractic medicine. Why are you so passionate about it? I assume that you're passionate about it,
Right.
but what made you get into it?
Yeah, so I've always been into the human body, human performance, stuff like that. My undergraduate was in athletic training, and then I had some family members who were in chiropractic. So
Where'd you do your undergrad?
undergrad, University of Nevada, Las Vegas.
Oh,
Was a
very nice.
running rebel.
Do
Yep.
you go back home much? Oh,
Home is
that's not home?
no, home is New
apologize.
York. Yeah,
Okay, very
so I
nice.
ended up out in UNLV, got an athletic training degree, and then I came out of school, kind of looking into some grad school stuff, and then I decided on chiropractic. I have 4 cousins who are chiropractors,
Very nice.
so I kind of
Okay.
went that route.
Where do they practice?
2 of them are up in Brooklyn, New York, and I have one in Boston, and my other cousin's in Orlando. Yeah,
Okay.
they're still
So,
practicing.
so how did you go from New York to Las Vegas and end up in Raleigh for so
Yeah,
long?
vacation. Went out there on vacation. Ended up on the campus. Yeah, it was beautiful. Palm trees. The cheerleaders were practicing. It was like August, and got some information. I was like, wow. I wanted to check it out. Yeah.
So how did you end up in Raleigh after seeing it's what sounds like a pretty exciting time?
Yeah, so I went to Atlanta, Life Chiropractic, and then I ended up in Raleigh through my brother. My brother moved here. I went to South Florida, got licensed in Florida.
Very nice.
Things didn't work out too much through Florida, and then I ended up coming this way.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you've done a little bit of bouncing around. That's pretty common
Yeah.
in the U.S.
Yeah.
And since I've been living in the U.S., I've been in the U.S. now. This is, I think, my 18th year.
Where are you from?
I'm originally from South Africa.
Okay.
I lived in the U.S. for about 17, 18 years now, and have basically been in the Durham area the entire time.
Nice.
But,
Where'd you go to law school?
law school at North Carolina Central.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good.
went there for undergrad as well, interestingly enough. But yeah, that is something where I set my sights on law school pretty early on. Realized that like I had a passion for the law.
Mhm.
Thought I had a passion for practicing a different area of law, and kind
Right.
of stumbled into PI.
Right.
I know that you've mentioned that you've got some family that's been into chiropractic medicine that kind of opened the door in some regard. But I think family, in my mind, lets you know that that's an option. What made you actually commit to chiropractic medicine?
Uh, Probably because of at that time physical therapy was really competitive and real tough to get into, and I just seen chiropractic as a more of a gateway into the health field. And at that time, you didn't really need a referral. You could have, you could be your own boss, open up your own shop, and go from there. You didn't
Fantastic,
need
yeah.
a referral. Yeah.
So part of being a chiropractor for you is always being a business owner, it sounds like.
Yeah, business and yeah, I mean the body. I was always interested in the body. Yeah.
So tell us about what sets your chiropractic practice apart from some of the other local chiropractors in the area.
Yeah, so most of the people we see is third party, so it's motor vehicle accidents.
Okay.
Been doing that for
That's pretty
like I said.
unusual for a chiropractor to be so dedicated to motor
Yeah,
vehicle accidents.
yeah. I just figured it was it kind of fit my personality with the people that we see, and yeah, it's something I enjoy.
Tell me a
It's
little more about how it fits your personality. What do you mean by that?
Just the people that come through, I can kind of relate to them.
Sure.
With the soft tissue injuries that they have, with my background, as well as I kind of have a passion for how can I say it? Like some of these insurance companies trying to get over on people. You know, it's kind of like
Standing up for the little person.
Yeah, exactly.
Little
Yeah,
guy,
the
I guess,
underdog.
the
Yeah,
expression.
and then trying to educate these people how the claim works and trying to point them in the right direction. Yeah,
Sure.
I feel like a lot of them don't know how it works, and then they could these insurance companies, they want to get them. Kind of throw them under the bus pretty quick. Steer them in the
All the
wrong
while
direction.
worrying about their physical ailments while
Yeah,
you're treating them.
yeah, it's a problem. Yeah, it's a headache for the patient, right? So their car's totaled, or they got damage to their car, their neck's bothering, their back's bothering, and it's a whirlwind. Yeah, and they need help, and most people have no clue, what their rights are.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and it sounds like being that dedicated to motor vehicle accidents and third party treatment and third party claims. Tell us about some common myths or misconceptions you see as you treat these patients or accident victims.
Yeah, that's a good question. So most people think that their neck pain, their back pain is just going to go away. They hope and pray it might just go away a couple of weeks.
And I'm sure the insurance companies want them to believe that too, so they can delay treatments, make it more difficult to prove the claim.
And then you see this a lot too. The insurance company reaching out to them saying, "Hey, we might not pay." When the report clearly shows there's a rear end collision. No ifs, ands, buts about it. So yeah, it kind of throws them off. They don't know what to do. And then also there's very lack of communication with the insurance companies. They're not picking up. They're not calling back. It's under investigation. Meanwhile, they don't have a car. They can't get to work, can't get to therapy, and it becomes a real hassle.
So what steps you take to try to assist folks that find themselves in that position?
Yeah, educate right off the bat. Kind of explain to them real simple. Yeah, real simple how it works, what their rights are. You don't want to wait too long. You don't want to wait 3-4 weeks before you get evaluated for those injuries. The hospital, if they do go to the hospital, they do a fine job of triage, making sure nothing's broke, nothing's they're not concussed or anything like that.
Sure.
But most of the time that we see is soft tissue, and not too many people are quite sure how that could heal up.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So it sounds like you've got a fair hurdle overcoming the lack of information parity, how much information the patient has and how much information you have compared to the insurance company,
right,
who seems to enjoy holding all the cards.
Right.
How much time do you spend educating the clients, the patients, I should say?
The first few visits. And even before, once they call in, we kind of explain to them that how it works, that we're not taking any monies from them. The victim will go after the third party. And if they need...
that'll be the insurance company.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And if they need help with an attorney, we could refer them to an attorney, or they can do it themselves.
Talk me through, if you don't mind, some of the big pain points that accident victims find themselves in. They've started treatment, things are getting a little complicated. Where do you see the big issues once treatment started for these accident victims? Do you see a pain point? And if you do, what are those pain points?
When you're saying pain points, what do you mean?
Troubles that they have, diffidifficulties. Is it a mind over matter issue? Is it that
physical or
everything, anything? So here's where I'm trying to go with this. Yeah. Basically, what we see in our office is pretty regularly people come in, they hire an attorney, and they are incredibly desirous of prosecuting their interests and protecting themselves.
Right.
Because the accidents just happened. It's fresh in their mind.
Right.
But you've got 7 weeks of treatment, and work is not going so hot because they're having a hard time getting to and from work.
Right.
And so some of the big pain points that we have is that at week 7, week 8, week 9, 10, letting folks know that being diligent about what they're doing now is just as critical as it was 7 weeks ago.
Right, yeah.
And so for us, we spend a lot of time educating people about consistency, right, and how timeliness is next to godliness,
yeah,
in a personal injury claim.
Yeah.
What kind of things do you typically see for that accident victim that's in the middle of treatment?
Yeah.
What kind of pain points have you discovered, and how do you usually deal with them?
Yeah, that's a good point. Consistency. Consistency is real important. Again, it comes back to educating the patient that the visits need to be congruent, right? Like, you don't want to see a gap of treatment,
we call that the kiss of death in our office.
Yeah.
Is when a patient comes in or client comes in, and
right,
they've gone to some treatment and they just miss for 2 weeks because they can't go or they haven't been.
Right, or transportation becomes an issue, work becomes an issue. So consistency is real important, and follow through.
Yeah.
So
how do you handle that kind of issue?
Yeah, constant communication, texting, calling them, trying to keep them abreast and what's going on, and then we're trying to get them out of there as quick as we can. We don't want to. I'm not the type of guy who's going to see somebody for 5 months, 4 months, and just run up a bill. We want to try to get them doing some home stuff, some exercise, passive, active stretching. Mobility is real important. Just trying to educate them on that and get them back to where they were prior to the accident, or close to.
I'm glad to hear you say that. A lot of chiros offer that concept as lip service to a patient.
Yeah.
And genuinely hearing you explain it like that makes me feel confident that's your approach.
You have to understand though too. I mean, they have other stuff going on in life
absolutely.
as well, But if they want to try to get the the best possible care and the best possible treatment, and the big picture with a lot of these people is how they're doing, not in 2 or 3 weeks, but 4 years down the line, right? Are they going to be one of these chronic musculoskeletal sufferers where their neck is they're going to know it's going to rain in 2 hours because their neck's killing them, So trying to decrease those residuals as much as possible.
So let me change gears and see if I can ask you a loaded question here, and maybe turn this conversation from some of the really intense professional talk to something that I know nothing about this. I have no experience with it. But have you seen very many chiropractors explore utilizing CBD oils or CBD as an alternative to opioids?
Yeah. So that's getting more and more popular. If you follow the media, it's been more and more in the media. They just passed the Hemp Legislative Act, which was supposed to, Donald Trump just signed that, was supposed to kind of open up the borders a little bit, kind of open it up, but it's still some stigma to it. And
it does appear to have a negative stigma. Do you have patients asking for CBD oils?
Some
or,
do.
Or getting advice from you about CBD oils?
Yeah. So I've been using some of the creams with the CBD.
I didn't even know it was a cream.
Yeah, there's topicals, there's creams, there's edibles, there's you could smoke it, vape it. Yeah, it's pretty.
What are you encouraging patients to do, or are you encouraging patients to?
So about 3 or 4 years, there was a cream that came out in one of my periodicals. It was a CBD clinic cream, and then I kind of seen stuff emerge. So that was one of the first creams I bought in, and was using it on patients, and the feedback was real
What
good.
Is it typically used to assist with?
Soft tissue. So the cream could help with muscle pain, muscle ache.
Okay.
It's just like any other cream. You'll rub it in, but the cream is infused with the cannabidiol, CBD. And if you really jump in deep with the studies, more and more research is coming out that we have what's called the endocannabidiol system that all mammals have.
Sure.
And the endocannabidiol helps regulate all your other systems, your musculoskeletal system, your digestive system, your hormonal system. That kind of is the governor. It balances out all those systems. So you have receptors where that cannabidiol, the CBD, goes and kind of calms down that area.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and to be clear, the folks that are using the CBD oil at your chiropractic practice, there's no high from that.
Right. Yeah.
This is completely legal.
100% legal in all 50 states.
They're not coming. Well, it sounds like the alternatives kind of outweigh some of the detriments of using opioids. Is it addictive?
Yeah. No, non-addictive whatsoever.
Okay,
so
fantastic.
what makes it legal in the in all 50 states is it comes from the hemp plant, and there's less than 0.3% THC. So that's very minuscule. It's not enough to cause any psychoactivity.
Gotcha.
So yeah, it's not addictive. There are some contraindications if the patient is on some other type of medication. So orally, you could take it. The creams are fine, or you could vape it without any concerns. Yeah.
Okay. So someone that's interested in exploring this, where would you tell them to begin?
Well,
Let's assume it's a motor vehicle accident victim.
Yeah.
Do you think that let me back up and maybe reword the question, because I just realized that I've not had this happen for a motor vehicle accident victim yet. I've never seen a chiropractic office bill for topical creams that contain CBD.
Yeah.
Have you had any insurance companies rejecting your bills for use of CBD?
Well, right now, that's a good question. And that's something I'm looking into. We haven't billed any of the insurance for that
I'd be
type
interested
of
to
product.
see how they react to that.
Yeah, I think there is a code for it, but as you know, with insurance companies, it's tricky, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you could bill out whatever you like, and they're gonna, they could scrutinize it. So right now, we use it as a sample, and if the patient wants some, we have samples that we can give them to take home, use it, or sometimes we'll we'll give them some products. Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, I imagine that's going to be a bit of a fight. Practicing almost exclusively personal injury, exclusively motor vehicle accidents.
Right.
We don't do animal attacks or slip and falls. We just do car accidents here, and it's a very unique niche in the sense that we're not going to touch another kind of PI case. But I think I've got a good eye for how the insurance companies view and perceive issues.
Right.
That being said, I fully expect the noise that they would be producing about this may outweigh some of the benefits, but I also have heard a lot of people talk about the benefits they've received from CBD, and I would hate for something that's non-addictive. That sounds like there's a lot of pluses coming from it. To not get the attention it deserves because of the noise that's being produced by the insurance companies over how acceptable it is or whether it's reasonable or necessary or appropriate. And I think that's going to be a big factor.
Yeah, well, the problem is, too, they go to the hospital. It's usually routine for, a script of naproxen or Flexerol. That's usually thing.
And they're handing that out like it's candy.
Yeah, they're doing a little bit better job because what they created a bunch of country of junkies, basically, with the opioid epidemic. So they're kind of, scrutinizing that somewhat. But, I mean, that's protocol for them. They're going to write a script. And the feedback that you get from a lot of the public, the people, they don't want, they don't want to take any of that stuff. So with the CBD, fits in real good. If it's a right fit for the patient, it can help tremendously. And the feedback I get from the patients when we use the cream with them or the oils,
I'm super excited to hear more about this. And I know that I don't want to dive too much into this in this format, but just to see where this is going to be going and just some of the benefits. I've never used CBD oils or any kind of cannabinoid either, and it does have a negative stigma, but it seems like there's so much positive upswing to it without some of the detriments that opioids have typically provided in the past. I'm very interested to see where this is going and how insurance companies are going to react. It just seems so novel. And I would hate for patients not to be able to use something that can actually help them. Yeah,
it's got tremendous legs. It's in my opinion, I think it's going to be huge, no question about it. Yeah, and even with the legality of medical cannabis here in North Carolina, it's just not a matter of when. It's just not a matter of if, it's when. It's coming down the pipeline. I feel that as well could benefit a lot of people for their pain. Way better than taking the opioids. And
I definitely don't want to get into the cannabis aspects or the THC aspect because that is something truly I'm not educated enough to dive into. But how about this? When that does, because and I'm a true believer as well that this will become legal at some point in the United States and in every state. And when it does, we would definitely need to have you back to the office to talk about this and maybe have you do some educating for us so that we can learn what you know.
Yeah, I went as far as I got a certificate from the International Center of Cannabis Therapy. So it was an online class, a bunch of information that was taught, and went a little deep with it. So yeah, I'm an advocate for it, and I think it's helping a tremendous amount of people. In fact, in my office, I took part of my office and I made it almost like a dispensary. We have all types of products. I'm just trying to educate the person on what might fit best for their pain. Yeah.
Well, it definitely sounds like you're passionate about this, and if we get some more time, I'd love to do a deeper dive and start exploring what some of these products are.
Yeah, it's interesting.
You seem to have a lot of knowledge about it, and I'm sure that there is some direct correlation between accident victims that want to avoid opioids that could get some real substantive benefit from this. Let's pivot away from that for one moment. I want to ask you some tough questions. I feel like asking you the stuff that you're an expert in makes it a little too fun and a little too easy for you. But have you ever been in a situation where you've treated a patient and it's not been a successful outcome for them?
Successful outcome as far as
in the sense that they've received treatment, they've not improved.
Well, I mean, again, it goes back to with any type of soft injury, just like if you played sports 20 years ago and you got a shoulder injury, you want to do as much possible to heal up those joints, that tissue. Unfortunately, with accidents, rear end collisions, all type of impact type of injuries, most time those areas aren't going to be 100%, and that's where that person needs to be compensated fairly for. So you want to treat those injuries. You want to educate that person on some stuff that they can do at their house, some active care, mobility, heat, stretch, stuff like that. And then, yeah, I mean, going back to the question, yeah, I mean, a lot of people don't recover 100%.
Sure.
There's a lot of
So
issues.
when you're evaluating a patient for the first time, do you set internal goals for them of what you would consider to be a successful outcome for them during that initial visit, or is that constantly reevaluated as you go along?
Constantly, yeah. The first thing you obviously want to do is get them out of pain, get them moving a little bit better. Activities of daily living are real important, how they're functioning around their house, their work duties, all that has to take in play, right? The pain kind of messes up their life, their sleep, can cause a lot of issues. So you want to get them out of pain, want to get them a little bit more comfortable, and try to, get them functioning a whole lot better.
Yeah, and I'm glad to hear you say that. It sounds like that's a big part of a successful doctor-patient relationship.
Yeah.
Is setting reasonable expectations
Right.
for them,
Yeah.
defining what success looks like.
Yeah.
Let me pivot away from that, but leaning in a direction that is somewhat interesting for me. Tell me about the worst kind of client you have. What kind of client makes it difficult for you to be successful?
Yeah, so lack of communication for sure. So the patient shows up, they're injured, you're educating them, you're trying to tell them, the path that this is going to go, and unfortunately, other things pop up in life, right?
Yeah.
Lack of transportation, work, stuff like that, and now they're now sometimes financially their phone's not working, or their communication is lacked, and you're kind of going down a rabbit hole there that you want to try to nip that in the bud as quick as possible and get them back on track. Yeah.
So, are there certain characteristics or personal characteristics that patients have that make them better patients?
Yeah. If somebody's who's showing up and more responsible, it's due diligence. I mean, we're kind
willing
of
to make the commitment to
we're
follow
all in
your
this
advice.
together. Yeah, and
we see the same thing in the personal injury legal services
Right.
as well. People that want to be involved and understand the importance that they're a critical component to the success of the case
that's a good
tend
point.
to make better clients.
Yeah.
And I imagine you would see some similarity
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
the medical treatment.
And it's temporary, so it's only a short time. Maybe 2 months, 3 months, where we're trying to get them on the right path and get them the best possible claim. And that could be tricky. These insurance companies, they're in business of taking those monies, and then when it's time to pay out, it's kind of hold up, wait a second.
Make it a little challenging to get it from them. Absolutely. So where do you see your practice in 1 year, 3 year, 5 years from now? I know you've been in Raleigh for a healthy period of time.
Right.
What do you want to see happen to your practice, whether it's a change in the law or change in the way that you do business? Where do you hope to be in 1, 3, and 5 years?
Yeah. I mean, that's right around the corner when you think about it. Yeah. So
when you're practicing for 22 years, it definitely just seems like
it
a
goes
drop
quick.
in the bucket.
Yeah, real quick. Yeah.
This is our 10th anniversary practicing law at this firm as well, and it just seems like a blink of an eye.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it'll go quicker too as you go on. Yeah. So just still doing the accidents and getting more and more into the cannabidoil, therapy, and educating the public with that. Yeah, I think it's goes hand in hand.
I think that's a healthy goal, and especially as the legality and some of the opinions of that changes in the community, it'll be a little more socially acceptable. I hate that it's not.
Yeah.
Especially if the government says it's legal. I think that's the measure a lot of folks should have, and they should look that way.
Yeah.
But
hopefully with the personal injury, it could get a little bit not easier, but a little bit better for the victim. I mean, it just seems like with the more and more people moving into the Raleigh-Durham area, more and more accidents are happening, and it just seems like these insurance companies maybe overwhelmed, not enough adjusters, and that's one of the problems, calling the adjuster, calling the insurance companies, nobody's picking up, and it's constantly, phone tag, and so
you've mentioned a couple times how your focus is exclusively motor vehicle accidents.
Yeah.
You do a majority motor vehicle accidents in your practice. How do you help your patients afford treatments with a chiropractor when they've been injured through no fault of their own?
No fault?
Yeah. So for example, I'm driving along down the road,
right,
and
someone
smashes me from behind,
right,
and I'm stopped at the stoplight
right,
through no fault of my own. I've
right,
been rear-ended, but I don't have the money to pay a chiropractor probably thousands of dollars for
Yeah.
the treatment that I need to fix my, lower back pain or my
Yeah.
upper back pain or whatever the pain may be. It sounds like you're doing a lot of this kind of treatments in assisting people that have been injured through no fault of their own.
Right.
What does your office do to help them afford it, if anything?
Yeah, so some of the insurances pay for the chiropractic. So if the victim if the at fault person does have some insurance, we can go after the insurance, and then also that person might have what's called MedPay on their policy,
Medical payments coverage,
right? Which would help pay for a chunk of their therapy with the chiropractic.
But
And
the
we
goal
also,
being to work with the patient, the victim of the accidents,
Right.
to hopefully have them pay nothing out of pocket. Sounds like the
exactly,
goal.
yeah. As well as if need be, we have some real affordable cash that we can charge them. So yeah, we just try to make it affordable for the patient. And again, it comes back to educating them. There's a whole bunch of home exercises they can do. I'm a advocate of the foam roller, lacrosse ball, all kinds of soft tissue
Brilliant.
work that the person can do. Ice, heat, stretch, mobility, real important. Yeah,
Absolutely.
there's tons of stuff out there.
So, Dr. Steve, what I'd like to do is I'd like to turn away completely from personal injury, chiropractic care, and I want to ask you some kind of off-the-wall questions.
Sure.
Show that you're a person, that you're a business
Right.
owner. Maybe make this a little fun. Answer these questions however you want. Tell me to shut the heck up, and I'll
Right.
do it too. But at the end of the day, tell me, what are you not very good at?
Not very good at probably management, as far as in the office stuff. Management,
Gotcha.
yeah.
What about management is a challenge to you?
When you're telling somebody, one way to do things, and they don't follow through, or they don't, do it the way you've asked them to do it, or how it works. So yeah, probably need some more management skills.
Yeah, I think that goes for a lot of business owners, and I think lawyers are particularly bad about this. I know I am.
Yeah.
In the sense that you've got in your head your defined expectation of what outcome you want,
Yeah.
and being able to translate that
Yeah.
in an ask
Yeah.
is a tough challenge. I know professionally that's something I battle with as well.
Yeah.
And
It takes
something
practice.
and I've been doing this for 10 years. It just seems like I just still don't have enough
Yeah.
practice.
Yeah.
And what about on a personal front? What kind of things are you just not very good at, and that you'd like to improve on?
Yeah. So a little self-respect, yeah. That's a good question. Not good at? Probably listening to my wife. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic. Yeah, that's
That's a challenge.
Did
That's
my wife
practice.
send you here? Is that what
Yeah.
happened? Is that how we got here today? Yeah, that's brilliant. It's a great answer. So I do hope when she hears this, and the camera is pointing at your face at the time, just the genuine look of sincerity when
She
you
would
said that.
agree.
That's brilliant. How long have you been married?
10 years.
Okay,
Yeah.
very nice. Yeah, my wife and I got married really young, and we're in love, and we just like said, screw it. She was 19, I was 22.
Wow.
So we were
So how
married.
many-
This is our 13th year.
Wow. Good for
Yeah,
you.
absolutely. Don't regret a day. At
Yeah.
least today's not over, so we'll
Right.
see what happens.
She's not. Is she attorney too?
No,
No,
she's not. I think that would be a nightmare if she was.
Yeah,
I just
it'd
don't
be
know how
tricky.
those arguments would go.
Yeah. Right.
Maybe I'm opening up too much.
It would be good practice. That's for
Could
sure.
be. It could be. So let me hit you with another one here. Tell me about something that you know is true that almost nobody agrees with you about.
That's a good question. Dang, digging deep. True that nobody agrees.
Yeah,
about.
like
Yeah.
you know it to be true, but almost nobody agrees with you.
Yeah. I don't know.
So we've had folks answer this question by talking about the moon landing being a hoax. I think we've even had someone mention 9/11, which we cut
Wow.
from
yeah.
a conversation.
Some flat earthers.
Yeah,
right?
there's
Yeah.
I've actually met a real life
Really?
flat earther.
Huh.
Like, people didn't believe me, but it's a real
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if you believe that or not. Maybe I just shot my mouth
Yeah,
off.
we could go deep with that. I mean, if you're
Do you
conspiracy,
believe the Earth is flat?
No, I don't believe that.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
yeah, but I mean, who knows?
I'm glad
I
to
mean,
hear that.
conspiracy theorists and stuff like that. Yeah. Who
Yeah,
knows?
I
Anything's possible.
yeah, so for me, like to
The
bring this.
media, Fox News or CNN, you don't know what to believe anymore.
That's
right?
probably true. Yeah, yeah. Well, then that's a tough one, and I probably should have primed the pump and mentioned that one to you before ahead of time, because that's a real difficult one. For me, and I don't know if that nobody would agree with me on this, but I am a genuine believer that the insurance companies are working together in every conceivable way to better get a better handle on how they pay out accident claims, to avoid paying out on accident claims. All states communicating with Geico, they're
Oh, of
sharing
course.
data.
Yeah, of
The
course.
data's
Yeah.
been used to manipulate the market to avoid paying
Yeah.
out on claims.
Right.
Now, that probably is something that a lot of people agree with,
Yeah.
but I think that's a really controversial
Well,
statement
here's
to make.
one: minor impact soft tissue, right? You couldn't have got hurt if it's under $1,000. I mean, that's that's a made up right by Allstate or State
Yeah.
Farm. I mean, you could very well.
And there's a lot of people that just don't like that believe that under $1,000 is, that seems
Wasn't
to be
that made up by the insurance company
does seem
though?
that way.
Yeah. So I mean, you very well could get dinged pretty good depending upon the position that you were seated in. How your neck was
Angle of the
positioned,
impact.
right? You
Yeah.
could get bumped.
Kind of car
so,
that you're
yeah.
in, the damages may not
Yeah.
be as evident.
And you can also walk away with no injuries, totaling out a vehicle. So
Yeah.
it's on both ends of the
We've seen
spectrum.
that.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. I've seen people get hit by a motorcycle. The report shows that the guy from the motorcycle landed up over there and just a little back soreness. And you're like,
Wow.
whoa, that's amazing.
Sounds a little bit like a miracle as well.
Yeah, luck for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've got another question that's along the lines of what you're not very good at, but I'm realizing that these questions all seem a little bit negative now that I've got them written down in front of me.
Yeah.
What is something that you've absolutely succeeded at, that you've undertaken, that you've had no experience with, that you've figured it out on your own, and that you now consider yourself an expert in?
Yeah, that's a good question. An expert. Well, I've been doing personal injury for so long, and yeah, I
You
would,
went from no knowledge all the way through.
yeah,
to being
just
an
kind of
expert.
getting
Good
thrown
answer.
in, yeah, and that's how I kind of got involved with the
Do you have any
personal injury.
hobbies personally?
Yeah, I like to work out, fitness, bike. I'm a big biker.
What
yeah.
kind of biking?
Used to do a lot of road biking. Now it's more mountain biking up in
Nice.
Umstead, stuff like that.
Very cool.
Yeah, try to get in
You
there
go
a couple
pretty
weeks.
regularly?
Yeah, try to. Yeah, weather permitted. Yeah,
Yeah, good for you.
It's,
Yeah,
it's
that's
a
what it
stress
seems-
relief. That's for sure. It's fun. I love it.
Absolutely. With that being said, is there anything that you feel like I haven't asked that I probably should have about you, your practice, about how you go about your approach to personal injury or chiropractic care, excuse me? Anything that you'd like to tell us about you and your practice at this point? Let me hand the mic over to you.
Yeah, I just
and
try
hush
to
my
keep it
mouth.
real simple, cut and dry, try to keep it simple for the patient, as far as, communicating with them, paperwork, all that stuff. Try to make it easy as flexible for the patients,
That's a critical thing to do.
Yeah, try to
Dealing with enough. They don't need more stress.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Absolutely.
try to just keep it as simple as possible. It's probably the best route. Yep.
And where can people find more information about you or about your business so they can reach out to you if they wanted to?
Yeah, come by the office or online.
Where is your office?
Right, we're on the corner of Creedmoor and Glenwood Avenue, behind the Container Store.
Okay.
4701 Creedmoor, Suite 113.
And Glenwood Chiropractic?
Yep, Glenwood
Okay.
Chiropractic.
And
yep.
your websites or social media that you'd like to mention?
Yeah. Right now they can go if they want to learn more about what we're doing with the hemp product, the CBD. I have a website right now that we just launched. It's Triangle Hemp Wellness, and that has a lot of information about pain, injuries, and stuff like that. With
trianglehempwellness.com.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Dr. Steve, thank you so much for telling us about your practice and a little bit about who you are. This has probably been one of the most fun interviews I've had.
Yeah.
You genuinely are an expert in some
it.
crazy fields that I've never even explored, not to mention we know we've worked with you and we've had some clients that become your patients, and we've seen them leave your practice better than they went in.
Yeah,
I think that's the
appreciate
mark of any successful chiropractic experience. But with that being said, thank you so much for coming, and I hope in the very near future we get to do this again.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. This was fun.
Absolutely.
I like this. Yeah, thanks.